观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看这一期的对话领事，我是主持人雅乔。今天在我们的节目中呢，非常荣幸的请到了加拿大驻港领事馆的总领事 Mr. Bichet 先生来我们的节目。Thank you very much, Mr. Bichet, for coming over today and joining us for this program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, we are looking at this little sculpture on the table. Would you like to give us a little bit of introduction on that? What's the story?
Well, I wanted to bring this to you because it really is indicative of my own career, and I think all of our careers. It's called Transformation, and it comes from Baker Lake in the territory of Nunavut in Canada's north. The people of the North believe that they came from animals. They descended from animals. They were transformed from animals. The animals play a very important part of their culture and of course in their heritage. Here you see a hunter who's returning from having successfully captured a seal, and the seal pelt will of course become part of his clothing and to keep his family warm, but also the fat of the seal will light up their home, the meat will feed their family, and then the skeletal elements will be part of their utensils as well as their hunting for fish hooks as well as spears. And I think that it's very indicative of our, as I say, our careers as we transform and evolve as individuals traveling around the world, and as a Foreign Service officer representing Canada abroad, I've had to do that in many different cultures.
That makes you like a transformer as well.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's a very interesting story, but we're gonna, talk about your country, Canada, first, because, Canada has been one of the most important and probably the most popular travel destinations for people from Hong Kong and China to go, especially Hong Kong.
加拿大，从东到西，从南到北，随着地域和四季的变化，所呈现的美是一种盛宴。去往不列颠哥伦比亚省，在全世界最大的华人聚集城市温哥华，感受中西文化的碰撞；或者前往惠斯勒，在皑皑白雪上留下足迹，在原始的海岸雨林追寻迷路的身影，探索激动人心的艾伯塔省，穿行于崎岖不平的加拿大落基山脉，闪耀着绿松石般光彩的星罗棋布的湖泊，洋溢着北方风情的森林，湍急的河流，绵延不绝的大草地，还有惊喜不断的马尼托巴冒险，在北海岸和北极熊欢聚，在苔原上搜寻珍稀雷鸟的身影，坐上皮划艇，在成千上万只友善地歌唱着的白鲸中穿行，再或是去往魁北克，沿着鹅卵石铺成的狭窄街道漫步，面前拂过的是人们肩上飞舞的丝巾，耳畔回响的是马车经过时的马蹄哒哒声。在法国街区上找一个精致浪漫的小咖啡馆，尽情地享受枫叶之国的浪漫与自在。
Why are we looking at Canada? Most people, they just, think of Vancouver or Toronto. So can you give us some more travel destinations that you think Canada can offer, which is unique?
Well, I think we're very blessed to have such strong Chinese cultures and Chinese communities in Vancouver and in Toronto. But I think there are other areas of our country which can be introduced to the Chinese population. I come from Victoria on Vancouver Island.
Beautiful place.
It's a wonderful community, and I've had a chance to travel coast to coast to coast in Canada, and I think that my Chinese friends and the Chinese tourists, as well as investors and students, can get an opportunity to visit many parts of Canada. We have a very diverse country and a very welcoming country, and I think there are many opportunities for investors from China, as well as, I say, students, as well as tourists, to get a chance to learn more about our country than just maple trees and maple syrup and mountains, but the contemporary cities, the diverse communities, and as well to experience the parks and wild areas.
Yeah, that's why it has, always attracting so many people from all over the world, especially we said Hong Kong and China, but for people from Hong Kong, it's quite convenient. They don't require visa to go. But for people from China, applying visa to Canada seems still like a very complicated process or like a hassle to them. What do you think that the Canadian government has they like plan on simplifying the visa process, just like United States, their government, the ex-ambassador of Gary Locke, when he just took his post in Beijing, he promised that the U.S. government is going to simplify the visa process, and a few European countries followed as well, including UK.
Well, we actually have a very simplified visa process and one that welcomes all Chinese citizens to come to our country. We have visa application centers in Beijing and Shanghai and also here in Hong Kong. Our Chinese friends who want to visit Canada can apply for a visa online, and it can be issued in a matter of days. And we're also issuing visas for a 10-year multiple entry period. So I think that we're going to see more and more Chinese visitors coming to Canada, and we welcome to use this very simplified process.
That's very good to know. But speaking of visa program, the other type, I understand that the Canadian government actually announced a cancellation of the visa immigration program, which is very popular with wealthy Chinese people. It's adding to concern that a country once welcoming the Chinese immigrants and investment is now closing the door on both. How do you think, why this policy was carried out?
Well, to be very frank, the program wasn't working. We're looking for Chinese citizens to make a commitment to Canada, to be involved in our society, be involved in our economy, and the program was old and outdated. And so I think over the coming months, I know that over the coming months, you're going to see some very innovative programs being introduced to attract more investors to Canada, and we hope that through tourism, through education, and through a revised simplified and expedient immigrant program, we can attract those investors to make a commitment to Canada and to be part of our economy and be part of our society as they have in the past.
When you were saying it doesn't work, it didn't work, what's the meaning of that? Can you give us more stories on that?
They really weren't staying for long periods of time in Canada. They were landing and returning the very next week or the week after. What we're looking for is to attract citizens to our country that are going to be contributing to our economy, that have the language capabilities and the education, and are going to be part of Canadian society while still maintaining their links and their ties back home to bring further investment, business to Canada to help our economy grow.
And as I understand it, Chinese immigrants actually, they're bringing a significant amount of foreign investment, especially in the real estate area. So the cancellation of the immigration program, is it going to have any negative impact on the economy of Canada?
No, I don't think so. I think you're going to see new programs that are going to attract new investment, not only in property, but also in our high-tech sector and in other parts of our economy, and help our people and our country grow, and through that develop more trade links with the People's Republic of China and elsewhere. What's wonderful to see is that the Chinese people are really opening up and going global, and by partnering and working with Canadians, we can be part of that global economy as well.
加拿大是个多元文化的国家，新来的移民可以保持他们原有的文化和语言，这使加拿大和大多数国家不一样。由于历史上深受英法的影响，加拿大的官方语言也不止一种，除了英语，还有法语。温哥华和多伦多有全球最大、历史最悠久的华人社区，即使不会英语，在这样的华人聚集地，也能够畅通无阻的生活、工作和学习。多元文化成为了加拿大文化中的一个标签，也是加拿大这个国家引以为傲的核心价值之一。
Okay, the first time I met you, you told me the thing about Canada that you want to promote mostly is the Canadian culture, which, kind of surprised me. So, because I know that the Chinese culture is kind of distinct and very defined. So how would you characterize Canadian culture?
Well, I think Canadian culture is very diverse as well. Canada is the second largest country in the world, and we have a very diverse country and diverse societies from Vancouver right across to Halifax, Nova Scotia. And those issues related to diversity economic diversity, social diversity, religious diversity, political diversity are very important to us. And what's really interesting is the way in which Canadians embrace their foreign visitors and welcome foreign immigrants to be part of our culture and our society. So you can be a Chinese Canadian, you can be an American Canadian, you can be a British Canadian, and so you're part of our economy, you're part of our society while still maintaining part of your original birthright heritage.
So diversity is the key word.
Absolutely.
I think that keyword can also be applied in some other countries like the United States of America. So because for Chinese people, they think of Canadian culture as quite similar to American culture as well. So how does Canada differentiate itself from the American culture?
I think that Canada has, as a sovereign nation, has really shown its blessing and its embracing of different cultures from around the world. We have a long history here in Hong Kong with our time back to 1941 when Canadians fought for the defense of Hong Kong. Over 2,000 Canadian soldiers were here. We now have 300,000 Canadians which are part of the Hong Kong society and close to 500,000 Hong Kongers living in Canada, and an equally growing number of people from the People's Republic of China, which are contributing to our society. And I think that their values and their experiences are being welcomed in Canada, and we can have a very multicultural, multilingual communities across our country.
Canada's relationship with Hong Kong has a very, very long history. Actually, Canada has the largest and oldest Hong Kong overseas citizen population in the world. So how do you think over the years that the Hong Kong culture has influenced the Canadian culture?
Well, the people-to-people ties here in Hong Kong are very, very important for us. We like to think of Hong Kong as Canada's city in Asia, and the people here are traveling back and forth between Hong Kong and Canada every day. We have over 40 flights out of Hong Kong to Vancouver and Toronto every week, and those people-to-people ties are very strong. And what it's important is to note is that of the 300,000 Canadians who are here, many of them, of course, are making that trip and contributing to the Canadian economy. In fact, 26% of that 300,000 still maintain a business license in Canada. So they're architects, lawyers, accountants, and so they're contributing to that two-way trade. Absolutely.
Almost. I think that in this program today, that the information you give us is quite sufficient, not just the traveling information, but also the cultural point. It's very happy to see Consul General here, you know, not just focusing on the other sides, but also try to promote the Canadian culture, which is a core value as well. So I'm going to take a short break right now. While we're back here, I'm going to be coming up with more questions related to yourself and the economy of Canada.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy yourself. 欢迎回来对话领事。今天我们节目中请到的是加拿大驻香港领事馆的总领事 Mr. Bachet 先生，我们来跟他一起走进加拿大。
加拿大驻港领事馆的总领事 J. Ian Burchett 先生的外交官之路，始于与他就读大学之时选择政治学作为自己的主修课程，为今天的职业生涯埋下了一颗种子。成为外交官之前，曾作为贸易专员，周转于世界各国，包括中国的一些主要的城市。今年是他在香港的第2个年头，对于加拿大和香港在贸易、文化、人文方面的合作，伯伊恩有着非常大的憧憬和信心。香港和加拿大在各个领域的合作已经有着坚实的基础和历史渊源，对于未来合作的扩展，两地间更为密切的交流，这一位加拿大驻港总领事更是充满了宏图壮志。
Mr. Bachet, before we go furthermore on your country, Canada, I'm going to ask you a few personal questions, including, you know, the transformation subject. So how did you transform yourself into a diplomat? I know that you took your subjects, university subjects, directly related to your current job. Is it like an early decision, or to say the family members in previous role?
Not at all. I grew up, as I had told you earlier, in Vancouver Island, on Canada's west coast in Victoria, where my father is from. My mother is originally from Montreal, and she left Montreal at a young age and came out to the west coast, met my father, and raised a family out there. I decided to go back east to Kingston, Ontario, to Queen's University on the shores of Lake Ontario, between Toronto and Montreal, and just a little south of Ottawa, our national capital, to study my Bachelor's of Arts. I did political science. I think my mother and father were afraid that I was going to enter political office, but I've always been very interested in political science and public administration. Following my degree, I had the opportunity to work on Parliament Hill for a Canadian Member of Parliament. Her name was Flora MacDonald, and she had a long service as a Member of Parliament for Kingston, the Islands, representing the community where I went to school. And afterwards, I decided to do my master's in Carleton University in public administration. I really believe in networking. I believe in getting out and meeting people, and that's the part of the job as a diplomat that I enjoy the most. And I joined the Foreign Service the same day that Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and have had a very exciting career being posted in places like Kingston, Jamaica,
Right.
Monterrey, Mexico, New York City, Beijing, China for 3 years.
That's why you can speak a little bit Mandarin as well.
A little bit. And then back to Canada, and had my most recent assignment in Washington before arriving here in Hong Kong.
So you have been traveling around this world as a diplomat.
Yes, I have.
But working in variously, like culturally different places, how could you find your life adapting to those places?
Well, just like Canada's people of the North have to adapt and transform themselves because of the climate changes of the North, of being in the warm summers and the cold winters, I think we as diplomats have to adapt to the culture of the countries where we are posted to. And so what I've really enjoyed is the different foods, the different theater, the different arts, but the different landscapes of where I've been. And I've had the opportunity to hike different parts of the Great Wall, visit the diverse cultures all over China, from Guilin to Lhasa and Shigatse in Tibet. And here in Hong Kong, it's fantastic because of the diversity of this city,
Right.
to be able to walk
just
out
like
my
Canada.
back door. Exactly, hike in the mountains as well as enjoy some dumplings over in Kowloon.
Yes, Hong Kong is very, very cosmopolitan and culturally diverse. Do you see Hong Kong as a very international city?
Absolutely. And I think that that diversity reflects very well on some of the values which Canada connects with here in Hong Kong. We are a country that's very open and welcoming, the same way in which I find Hong Kong to be. And our Commonwealth heritage is very important with our friends in Hong Kong. And the way Hong Kong has adapted itself after 1997 to be part of the People's Republic of China,
Right.
but still a special administrative region under basic law. And those are the values and diversity elements which Canada embraces and welcomes and looks forward to connecting with Hong Kong
Yeah.
going forward.
香港作为亚洲最繁荣的经济体之一，被加拿大一直视为极其重要的贸易伙伴。香港目前已经是加拿大对外贸易第5大市场，在香港和澳门也都有着非常活跃的加拿大商会，而这一切稳定蓬勃的发展是基于两边较好的人文关系。而中国内地也是加拿大最大的贸易伙伴之一。作为以贸易立国的加拿大，中加两国向对方进出口的产品种类繁多。随着贸易的平稳发展，中加贸易现在的重点在如何优势互补，增加贸易的多元化。
I think as a consul general, one of your major tasks is probably like promoting Canada as a country in terms of tourism, culture, and especially like trade, commerce, right?
Absolutely. And we have a very rich trade and investment business relationship with Hong Kong,
With Hong Kong.
and through Hong Kong to other parts of Asia, most especially mainland China.
Yeah.
A few years ago, we used to talk about Hong Kong being the gateway to China. And we all know, and we see it every day, that Canadian companies as well as other international business people can do that kind of commercial activity directly with China. But our Hong Kong friends can really provide a tremendous linkage for helping us in other parts of Asia and including in mainland China.
According to what I understand, I know that the Canada's merchandise exports to Hong Kong have been making like a historic high all the time. Do you think that Hong Kong and Canada have achieved enough?
Never enough.
Never enough.
I think there's tremendous things that Canadians can learn from our Hong Kong friends and our Chinese partners. Likewise, I hope that the companies that come from mainland China into Hong Kong will look to Canada to diversify. We've just signed a free trade agreement with the European Union. We have a free trade agreement with the United States and Mexico, as well as many other economic vehicles which are very attractive to companies in Asia to do business. And so I hope with my team we can introduce new opportunities in an innovative, technologically advanced Canada that will be very exciting and very economically worthwhile.
And I know that the trade is increasing rapidly by increasing the exports to Hong Kong, and one of the major products is probably Canadian beef. But do you see climate change in these years will play a very negative factor in the trade and export in the future?
Not at all. I think that we need to pay particular attention to climate change, but Canadian companies are very well placed to partner with our friends in Hong Kong and companies in China and elsewhere in Asia for clean tech technologies. Our Minister of International Trade, Ed Fast, was recently in China with a number of Canadian companies introducing technology, services, and products in the clean tech space. And I think that as we look at some of the challenges that Canada has had to tackle and will be tackling, we can work together with our Chinese friends to implement that technology and tackle and face the issues of climate change head on together as partners and friends.
And speaking of that, do you think there's a need to push the diversity, like the trade surplus, into some other factors, not just the Canadian beef?
Well, we already have a very diverse trade relationship. You talk about the Canadian beef, it's very important, and we know that food in mainland China as well as here in Hong Kong is a very important part of our culture, but we see Canadian technology in IT, information technology, as well as aircraft, and as I say, in environmental technology.
This is about Canada and Hong Kong. Well, except for that, we know that China has been one of the biggest trading partners for Canada as well. So how do you think that Canada and China can complement each other in terms of trade in other areas as well?
Well, the Chinese have been extremely successful in exporting their products to Canada, and we hope to continue to have an open markets for Canadian companies in the mainland, and that our small and medium-sized enterprises will continue to take advantage of the economic diversity, getting back to one of the key words that we've been talking about. So from food to telecommunications to aviation to clean tech to IT to mining and energy, I think that Canadians can really partner very well with our Chinese friends to build a strong global economy.
I think that Canada's relationship with China and Hong Kong include like long-standing and comprehensive, political, commercial, and people-to-people ties. And I'm sure that looking at the future of Canada and Hong Kong, Canada and China, it's just going to be very, very promising.
I think it'd be very exciting and very welcoming. I think that with that diversity of our economies, diversity of our people, but the complementarity of the opportunities and where we can work together will be very exciting for the future.
Yes, we both are very exciting. Thank you very much. We appreciate that your presence today and telling us so much stories about your country, Canada. Thank you very much, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you very much.